The psychology of people who cry easily, it's not weakness. What if I told you that the people who cry the easiest are often the ones carrying the strongest hearts? Think about it. You've seen them, maybe you are one of them. The person who tears up at a sad movie. The friend who cries when they're overwhelmed, even if they try to hide it. The quiet one who gets emotional during an argument, not because they're weak, but because something inside them feels life more intensely than the rest of us. Society looks at them and says, too sensitive, over-emotional, soft, but here's the secret almost no one knows. Psychology says the people who cry easily are wired differently. Their brains process emotion on a deeper, more meaningful level. In fact, crying might actually be a sign of emotional intelligence, not fragility. So why do some hearts react with tears at the slightest emotional shift? Why do certain people break down when others stay numb? Why does a single word, a memory, or even a small disappointment trigger something powerful inside them? Is it trauma? Is it sensitivity? Is it biology? Or is it something much more mysterious? Something hidden inside the human mind that we still don't fully understand? Today, you're going to discover the truth, the scientific, emotional, and deeply human truth behind people who cry easily. A truth that flips the entire idea of weakness on its head. Because what if crying isn't a flaw, but a kind of psychological superpower? Stay with me. By the end of this video, the way you see yourself and the people around you might change forever. Let me take you into a moment you may have lived more than once. You're sitting in a room with people you know. A conversation gets a little tense, someone raises their voice, or a personal topic comes up. You can feel your throat tightening, that sting behind your eyes, the pressure building in your chest, and suddenly, you're fighting tears. You're not trying to be dramatic, you're not trying to get pity. You're trying desperately not to feel everything all at once. But here's the part that hurts the most. The instant your voice cracks, people assume something about you. They assume you're weak. They assume you can't handle life. They assume you're fragile. Yet deep down, you know this isn't the full story. You don't cry because you're weak. You cry because you care. Because your body reacts faster than your words. Because your heart is tuned to emotions the way a musician's ear is tuned to sound sensitive, perceptive, alert. But society doesn't teach us to value that. Instead, it teaches us to hide, suppress, and silence our feelings. And that raises the question, why do some people feel things so intensely that tears become their body's natural language? Why do some cry quickly while others seem emotionally bulletproof? On the surface, crying seems simple. But the psychology behind it, that's where the real mystery lies. Because crying is not just an emotional reaction, it's a neurological response, a biological release, a subconscious communication system built deep inside the brain. And here's the part nobody talks about. People who cry easily often have higher empathy, stronger emotional awareness, and deeper social intuition. But why does this happen? What creates this emotional depth? And how does it shape relationships, decision-making, and identity? Today, we're diving into a story. Your story may be about sensitivity, misunderstanding, hidden emotional strength, and the truth about tears. By the end of this video, you won't just understand why some people cry easily. You'll understand why it's one of the most misunderstood strengths of the human mind. Ready? Let's begin. Picture this. A young woman sits across from her friend at a cafe. They're having a simple conversation, nothing dramatic, nothing intentionally hurtful. But one sentence, one shift in tone, one slightly emotional story, and her eyes begin to water. Not a breakdown, not a scene, just tears. She wipes them quickly, embarrassed. Her friend apologizes, thinking they said something wrong. The people at the next table glance over, and inside her mind a familiar voice whispers, "Why am I like this?" Now imagine someone else, maybe a man, arguing with a loved one. He doesn't want to cry. He tries to stay composed, to stay strong. But suddenly his voice shakes, his eyes burn, and he feels that pressure behind his chest that he can't push back down. And the moment the first tear falls, he feels ashamed. Not because he's sad, but because he's afraid of what others will think. You see, this is the private world of people who cry easily. A world where emotions rise faster than they can be controlled. A world where tears appear not just in moments of sorrow, but in moments of beauty, gratitude, empathy, frustration, even overwhelming joy. Most people don't understand this. They think crying comes only from pain or sensitivity. But the truth is far more complex and far more human. People who cry easily often carry a deeper emotional radar. They pick up on subtle shifts in tone, hidden meanings in conversations, emotional undercurrents that others miss completely. They absorb energy. They feel tension. They notice the emotions between the words. But here's the real question, the question that begins the mystery. Why does their brain react this quickly? Why do tears appear before logic has time to speak? Why do emotions hit them like waves instead of ripples? Think about it. Two people can experience the same moment, a heartfelt story, a powerful song, a memory. Yet only one feels that sudden, uncontrollable sting of tears. Is it biology? Is it personality? Is it childhood? Or something deeper? What if the reason people cry easily has nothing to do with fragility, and everything to do with how their brain is wired? Because there is a mechanism inside the mind, an ancient system, that explains exactly why some people feel more, sense more, and cry more. And in part 2, we uncover that mechanism. The truth is coming. Here's where the story shifts. Because for people who cry easily, the tears aren't the real problem. The real problem is the world's reaction to them. Most cultures don't treat emotions as intelligence. They treat emotions as interruptions. Crying becomes a symbol of weakness, lack of control, or immaturity, especially for men, but even for women, the judgment is always there, subtle or not. So what happens inside the mind of someone who tears up quickly? A conflict begins. Their biology is telling them one thing, society is telling them another, and somewhere between those two forces, their identity gets squeezed. Now let's reveal the psychological mechanism behind all this. People who cry easily often have hyperactive mirror neurons, the parts of the brain responsible for empathy. These neurons fire more intensely, more rapidly, and more deeply. So when they see someone hurt or hear a heartfelt story, their brain doesn't just understand the emotion, it experiences it. But that's not all. Crying easily is also linked to a powerful system called the parasympathetic nervous response, the part of your body that tries to calm you down. When emotion spikes, this system activates tear production to release tension. Yes, tears are literally the body's emotional reset button. And then there's the deeper layer, childhood emotional conditioning. If someone grew up in an environment where they had to be hyper-aware of others' moods, unstable parents, emotional inconsistency, high conflict, their brain learned to become more sensitive, more alert, more responsive. This isn't weakness, it's adaptation. But here's the turning point, the part nobody talks about. When someone cries easily, they often develop emotional shame. They apologize for crying. They say, "I don't know why I'm like this." They try to hide their tears, to hold them back, to pretend they don't feel things as deeply as they do. And the irony? The more they fight the emotion, the stronger it becomes. Because suppressing tears activates the amygdala, the brain's emotional alarm system. The harder they try to stay strong, the faster the tears rise. This is the internal conflict, a sensitive nervous system battling a society that punishes sensitivity. But here's where the true revelation begins. What if crying easily isn't a sign of a fragile mind, but a deeply connected, highly attuned, psychologically stronger mind? In part 3, we uncover the shocking truth. Here's the truth you never hear, the truth the world rarely acknowledges. People who cry easily aren't weak. They're emotionally advanced, and psychology finally proves it. Let's start with something shocking. Studies show that people who cry more often have higher emotional intelligence, stronger social bonds, and lower long-term stress levels. Their bodies process emotions faster than the average person, not slower. In other words, tears are not a failure of strength. They reassign of emotional processing working at full power. The brain of someone who cries easily is wired with a heightened insula, the region responsible for emotional awareness. This means they feel emotions vividly, deeply, honestly, not diluted, not suppressed. Real. This depth gives them something most people lack, the ability to connect, to understand, to empathize in ways others can't. Think about the people who inspire us. Great leaders, writers, artists, healers. They're not remembered because they hid their emotions. They're remembered because they felt them, expressed them, and transformed them into something meaningful. Now here's the part that flips the entire narrative. Psychology shows that people who suppress tears trigger increased cortisol, inflammation, and emotional fatigue. But those who allow themselves to cry release oxytocin and endorphins, natural emotional painkillers. Crying isn't losing control. It's the mind regaining control. It's the body saying, "I'm overwhelmed, let me clear this out so we can continue." But there's an even deeper truth. People who cry easily usually have something rare, a sensitive nervous system paired with a courageous heart. Because feeling deeply is not the hard part, showing it is. Crying in front of others requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires strength. The kind of strength that doesn't need armor. The kind of strength that doesn't pretend, or numb itself, or hide behind emotional walls. And here's the climax, the revelation you came for. People who cry easily are emotionally brave. They face emotions instead of running from them. They confront what others suppress. They feel life in high definition, in a world full of people living in emotional grayscale. Their tears are not proof of fragility. They're proof of emotional truth. And in a world that often rewards numbness, emotional truth is the rarest form of strength. In the next part, we explore what this means for your life, and for every sensitive person you've ever known. So now that the truth is finally uncovered, what does all of this reveal about the people who cry easily, and about you? It shows that the world has judged sensitivity through the wrong lens. We treat emotions like something to control, hide, or apologize for. But psychology reveals the opposite. Emotional expression is a healing mechanism, not a flaw. People who cry easily aren't the fragile ones. They're the ones with a nervous system tuned to honesty. They feel more, notice more, and respond more deeply, and that depth allows them to form the most meaningful connections. And here's the aftermath of knowing this. You start seeing sensitive people differently. Not as overreactors, but as emotional truth-tellers. Not as weak, but as self-aware. Not as dramatic, but as deeply human. This understanding also forces you to look inward. How many times have you stopped yourself from feeling something real? How many moments have you swallowed emotions because the world taught you that showing them makes you less? But what if the opposite is true? What if every moment you've cried, or wanted to cry, was actually your mind trying to protect you, release you, strengthen you? Understanding this changes the way you treat yourself. It softens your self-judgment. It allows you to breathe a little deeper, because now you know that tears aren't the end of control, they're the beginning of healing. And that realization alone rewrites the entire story of emotional strength. In the end, the truth is simple but powerful. Crying isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of being alive. A sign that your heart still responds, your mind still cares, and your humanity hasn't been numbed by the world. People who cry easily aren't broken. They're connected to their emotions, their environment, and their inner world. They feel deeply because their mind is wired to experience life fully, not half-heartedly. And if you're one of them, you don't need to harden yourself to be strong. Strength comes from embracing who you are, not suppressing it. As you move forward, remember this: your tears are not evidence of fragility, they are evidence of truth. They reveal the depth of your empathy, your resilience, and your capacity to heal. And now, if you want to understand even more of the hidden psychology behind why you feel what you feel, if you enjoyed uncovering the secrets of the mind, wait till you see what your brain does when you fall in love. Because the next video will reveal a psychological process even more surprising and even more misunderstood. So make sure to subscribe, and stay tuned. Your mind is far more powerful and far more beautifully complex than you've ever been told.